A rotisserie chicken is always an amazing start to a quick meal. And I've got you 4 rotisserie recipes today. Hey friends, my name's Susan and welcome to my home. Today I've got you 4 rotisserie chicken recipes that make it so quick and easy to get a meal on the table whenever you're busy, like this time of year. So let's get our ponytails up and let's get to making some quick and easy rotisserie chicken recipes. Come on, let's get to cooking. Let's get some rolled chicken tacos in the oven. I've got some burritos that we're going to make into the tacos. I've got 2 rotisserie chickens that I have pulled right here. I've got some sour cream that I'm going to only use about half of that. Some Rotel, taco seasoning instead of all the different seasonings they're talking about. And of course some Mexican style cheese. You can make it like the recipe or you can make it like you like it. Y'all know I like it like I like it. So let's get everything into the pan. Now I'm going to go ahead and put 4 ounces of the sour cream into a bowl. I didn't need to put a pan. Didn't realize I didn't need to use a pan until I started looking at the instructions. And this is not quite room temperature, but this will do just as well. I'm going to go ahead and get this kind of warmed up and layered around. I'm going to add in about half of the can of Rotel into the mix. I'm going to try not to get all of the juice in there, but it might just do that. There we go. That looks really good. That's a good half of it. And that'll help loosen up the cream cheese while I'm doing that. Now, you could put the cream cheese into the microwave for a few seconds just to warm it up, but I figure once I get everything in here with all the juices, it would loosen up a little bit, and it is. It's starting to mix pretty well. The next thing I'm going to add in is some of the taco seasoning. Y'all know I love my taco seasoning. About the equivalent probably of about half a pack or 1 pack. Just depends on what you want. And that looks good. Now I have 2 rotisserie chickens that I got at the beginning of this week. And every meal this week is going to be a rotisserie chicken meal. Rotisserie chicken was on sale at Walmart, I believe it was, for $4.99. $5 for a chicken. You can't buy them that cheap. And you know what? I didn't have to worry about it because I got them. And now I'm going to be using them. The next thing I'm going to do is pull the chicken. I'm going to use about maybe 1/4 of what I've got in the bag that I pulled off. And I'm going to just use my fingers and get this all shredded up. Whenever it comes to something like this, which is Mexican, you don't necessarily have to worry about, is it dark meat? Is it light meat? It's all going to be good meat. It don't matter. If you were doing something that you just specifically needed the white meat in, then yeah, use the white meat. But I don't, and I don't think I've got anything this week that I'm doing that specifically says white meat only. So that is looking pretty good. I think I'm about done with adding the meat in for this bunch. I'm going to make, it calls for 8 burrito flour shells. I don't have that many, which is fine. That's why I'm only using, well, I'm only using about half of the chicken that I need. And let's go ahead and get this all mixed in together. You know that Rotel has a lot of good flavor anyway. So, alright. Now it's time to get this in the burrito shells. Now I'm going to go ahead and put some of this chicken meat into the burrito shell. I'm not going to make it into a burrito, although it might by the time I get done with this, because you know I'm going to put a lot in it. But it's going to make more of a rolled taco. There we go. And now I'm going to go ahead and roll the edges and see if I can mush some of that meat out to the sides, which is doing a very good job doing it by itself. and then roll it up. And this is not necessarily a pretty rolled taco, but it'll work. Let me get a few more made and get into this pan right here, and then I'll bring you back. And there's what everything looks like as it is. I think I was supposed to, let's see, mix the cheese in with that. I'll put the cheese on top. It's all good. It does say to brush a little bit of olive oil on top of these. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of olive oil in the container. I don't need much. And I'm going to go ahead and brush it. That way it'll make them golden brown as they cook. And they'll look real pretty whenever I bring them out. And then I'll add lots of cheese when they're nice and hot. So let me go ahead and get this in the oven. It just dinged. It's ready. And we're going to bake this at 425 for about 15 to 20 minutes. So let's go ahead and get them in, and I'll check them at 15. And I went ahead and got them out. I've already put the rest of the salsa or the Rotel on the top of them. I'm going to add a little bit of cheese on top also and let this melt. This is, of course, Mexican cheese, which it's said to have added inside. We've got cream cheese inside. I'm going to put it on the outside. There we go. Now you can always put this back in the oven for a few minutes to let that cheese melt. But I'm also going to add a little bit of something when we get it on the plate. And now I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of sour cream, of course, to the top. Y'all know I love me some sour cream. And now this is ready to eat. I love some Mexican food, and these were so good. And the rotisserie chicken just made it so much easier. If y'all haven't tried them, you've got to. They're great. It's time for some easy Rotel chicken spaghetti, which I'm going to be using whatever noodles I've got available instead of my spaghetti. I've got this container that has a little bit of all kinds of noodles. I'm going to use that. Then I'm going to use some egg noodles too. Go ahead and get rid of some of these extras that I don't use as much. I've got some onion, a little bit of butter, some Rotel, some cream of chicken soup. This is the Velveeta knockoff, the Clancy's. I think it's from Aldi's. I'm going to use it. You can use whatever cheese you want. This just happens to melt up really good. And I've got some rotisserie chicken that I've already pulled. I'm not using all of this. This was a pull from 2 chickens, and I've already made 1 meal out of it. And I'm going to make this meal out of that, plus 2 more. But, you know, I use basically half a chicken each meal because Danny and I don't eat a ton, so we don't need a whole one. And this is actually done for, I believe, 7 servings, excuse me. So I'm going to halfen this recipe. And I am going to omit the cream of mushroom soup because I don't want it. I've had something similar to this before, and I didn't put cream of mushroom in, and it was really, really good. So let's go ahead and get the noodles boiling and get what we need to put into the frying pan. Now I've got some butter sauteing, warming up basically. I'm going to add in some onion. I'm only going to add about half as much as it called for into the nice butter and get it sauteed up. It did say to add celery and a few other things. I don't have it. I've just got the onions. And this will do just nicely. I'm going to let this saute until it becomes opaque. And then we'll add a few other ingredients into the pan to get this cooking up. The onions are nicely sauteed down. I'm going to go ahead and add in the Rotel. And turn this down a little bit. Woo! This side gets hot whenever I do it. And I'm going to go ahead and add in the cream of chicken soup. Nice big plop. There you go. And I'm going to go ahead and get this melted down. The noodles are in the pot boiling. I know you probably can't see them, but they're right there boiling. Then I've got this going. And it smells so good. Now the cream of chicken soup is melting up nicely. I'm going to go ahead and add in my Velveeta cheese. I don't know if this is the way they say to do it, but you know what? I am, and then I'll add my chicken in last. Because you want all of these ingredients nicely melted so they'll cover your chicken and be really good. There you go. Now I've got all of the Velveeta and stuff melted in here, and I've turned it completely off for right now. I've got to let the noodles get completely done. I'm going to go ahead and add in the chicken. It's going to be in this. And I'm just pulling out some of the chicken that I shredded, or, excuse me, pulled off the rotisserie chicken earlier this week. You get a rotisserie, you pull all the meat off, and then you've got easy meat sauce that you can pop into stuff all week long. And that's what I am a-doing right now. There we go. You just have to kind of figure out what size you want. I'm making my chicken a little bit bigger so we can have some definite good bites of chicken. There we go. That looks really good. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get this all incorporated into this cheesy, creamy soup mixture here. And then put this back under the lid until the noodles get done. And then we'll add the noodles. And it'll be time to eat. That's how quick this is. And it's been a few minutes. I've let the noodles absorb some fluid. And this, of course, has been absorbing all that goody cheese stuff into the chicken. And I'm gonna try to get it into the pan without too much water getting into the pan also. And if you do get some of the pasta water in here, it's not going to matter. It's just going to make it a little bit creamier and gooier and better. So what I'm doing is just basically mixing all of the noodles into the chicken, cheese, and soup mixture. You could have added the celery. You could have added a lot of different things. You could add peppers. You could add whatever you want to this. We like it pretty straightforward. Danny likes his noodles and chicken and cheese, and that's just the way we are. Because of that Rotel, it's going to have a little bit of a spicy taste to it, but it's going to be really, really good. So let's go ahead and get this in a plate, and I'll show you what it looks like dished up. Another quick and simple, easy meal made with rotisserie chicken. Another Mexican version, and this also was amazing. Let's make some Cajun chicken orzo. I have got some lemon juice, a little bit of sun-dried tomatoes, some olive oil, some Cajun seasoning. You know I mix the two of these to make Cajun seasoning that I love. I've got some onion chopped up. I've got some orzo, of course, a little bit of minced garlic, butter, some rotisserie chicken that I've pulled, heavy whipping cream, and this is some chicken bone broth. So let's get all this started in the pot. First thing is going to be a little bit of olive oil. About a tablespoon is what it calls for. And I'm also going to add in the butter. 2 tablespoons of butter is going in to melt. Now that that butter has melted nicely, I'm going to go ahead and add in the onion. And let this go ahead and saute down and get a little bit opaque before we add the next ingredient. Okay, now that the onions have become opaque and it's starting to saute down just a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and add in garlic, which is 3 teaspoons of garlic, or 3 garlic cloves. 3. Good deal. I'm also going to add in the Cajun seasoning. It calls for half a tablespoon, excuse me, of Cajun seasoning. So I'm going to add a good little bit of Zatarain's, and then a smaller little bit of Slap Your Mama, or Slap Y'all Mama. I don't want to do too much Slap Your Mama. It does get very spicy. Go ahead and let that saute around just a little bit to get everything incorporated. I am also going to add in the sun-dried tomatoes, which I have cut up and shredded up. So those are now in there. And let that also get nice and melded flavor-wise with the rest of the ingredients. And it also has you to go ahead and add in the Orzo pasta. That is also going to get infused with all those good flavors before we add the broth in. So I'm going to go ahead and let this saute. It says about 1 to 2 minutes. And then we'll add some more ingredients. Now let this meld for just a little bit, and it smells divine. I'm going to go ahead and add in the chicken broth, which is chicken bone broth. I'm going to go ahead and add in the cream. And it does call for a teaspoon of lemon juice. There we go. Now, I'm going to let this warm up and heat. I've turned the heat down to about a 4. I am going to go ahead and let this start to boil just a little bit. And then it'll be time to add some chicken in. You need to let this cook for about 10 minutes. And then we'll be adding in the chicken. So let's go ahead and let this bubble a little bit and cook. And I'm going to put let's see, uncovered, I believe. Yeah, don't put a lid on it. Just let it do its thing. Now, that's boiling nicely. I'm going to go ahead and add in the chicken that I cut up. This is from the Rotisserie Chicken I got earlier this week. And I'm going to add in some shredded Parmesan cheese. About half a cup is what it calls for. And that's right at about the right amount. There we go. Now, this has already been boiling and doing its thing for the past little bit. I'm going to go ahead and add the cheese and add the chicken in. And then I'm going to push it to the side. I am going to cover it and let it set for about 3 to 5 minutes so that pasta can absorb the fluid and the chicken can get nice and warm from the actual orzo and the juice in there. So let me cover this and I'll bring you back whenever I plate it up. I love a good Cajun recipe, and this is a simple, easy one. Not too spicy, just right. It's so good. I love it. And tonight I'm going to be making some quick and easy chicken fried rice. I've got some rotisserie chicken that I've pulled. I've got some onions, butter, 2 things of jasmine rice, the 90-second kind, a can of mixed vegetables, 2 eggs, some sesame oil, and some garlic. Minced garlic, that is. I do need 1/4 cup of soy sauce. I just saw that. I forgot to get it out. But other than that, we've got everything we need. So I'm going to go ahead and put these in the microwave, and then we'll start making the fried rice. And this recipe is supposed to be really fast, a 10-minute recipe. We will take that challenge. I've already got the rice that I have put in the microwave. I'm going to go ahead and add in the onions and the garlic to the pan. Now it says to let this cook for about 2 to 3 minutes, and it is on a medium-high. Well, medium. I just don't want to burn the garlic. So I'm going to go ahead and let this cook for just a minute. And it's been about 2 minutes and it's really fragrant. I'm going to go ahead and add the rice in. And mix that around really good. Get all that wonderful garlic and onion put together with the rice. Next in is going to be the vegetables. It calls for, I think, 1 cup of mixed vegetables. You know me, if I can get Danny to eat his vegetables, I'll make it however I need to make it. So I went ahead and put that in. Next in is going to be the chicken. It said to cut it up into small pieces. I didn't quite do that because, you know, We like a little bite of chicken in ours. So I'm going to go ahead and mix this around too. Just to get it heated up. And I have turned it down to medium because it was a little bit hot. I am going to add about a tablespoon of sesame oil into the pan. Okay. That stuff is like gold, I tell you. It's not cheap by no means, but it makes everything taste so good. And let me get this stirred around. Now I'm going to go ahead and push the rice over to the side to give the egg a nice hot surface to go on. That way I can fry the egg right there. And I'm just going to keep stirring while the egg is cooking. That way it'll make it nice and fluffy. Try not to get everything into it, but you know, it's all going to go in together anyway here in a minute. But this is basically all that you do. And you just let it go until it fluffs up real good. And yes, I love these pans. They're called Masterclass pans. Love them. Nothing sticks to them. Okay, now that's pretty good. I think the eggs are pretty much cooked all the way. Now what I'm going to do is basically just stir them into the rest of the rice. Make sure there's a little egg in everything. Now, last thing I'm going to do is add in the soy sauce itself. And stir that around. And that's looking really good. Now I'm going to let this cook for about a minute and then it's ready to eat, guys. That's how simple this is. And you saw it pretty much in real time. It's really quick. Better than takeout and a lot quicker too. Chicken fried rice. This was so quick, so simple, and so good. Rotisserie chicken recipes. Oh, you gotta love them. And I know if you try any of those 4 recipes, you will not be disappointed. And if you haven't already, press that little button down below and subscribe. Make sure that you press the bell notification and the all. That way you get notified each time I put a new video up, so you don't miss any of the good food and fun and those great recipes. Don't forget to leave me a comment. Tell me where you're watching from. And until next time, see you then.